Sam, good to see you this morning, brother. So happy to get a chance to meet with you once a month or a couple times a month or however it works out, because you're one
Mm,
of my favorite people. You've absolutely changed, the whole Kangen water, change your life.
mhm,
The reason that's true is because of the people that it puts you around.
mhm,
When you become part of Kangen water, you develop this different, if you actually participate in it and use it and, jump in, you end up surrounding yourself with a bunch of really, really wonderful people. And anybody that's studied success habits and that stuff knows that if you want to be successful, you need to surround yourself with successful people. And you I can't tell you, brother, how much you made a difference for me. I mean, everything about like Kangen water and all the different things that I have that are so good for people, because all the good things I have in my life, I have this massive desire to share them out with people. And it wasn't until you came along that I got the thought process of, you know, my job is just to let you know about this.
mhm,
If you do it or don't do it, that's your job. That's your deal, and then
mhm,
if you decide to do it, then I gotta help you further. But initially, I would get so angry with people when they wouldn't look at Kangen water, when they wouldn't try the water, like my brother that's dying and won't even use it, won't even try. And it's exactly what he needs. He's got COPD. He
mhm.
absolutely desperately needs those negatively charged hydroxyls blasting into his lungs.
Yeah,
It's,
that's
uh,
that was a realization that I had to come through to my personal, um, when you have experience and education and I came from big pharma, right? You know that. So and then you know, I'm not like I'm not like a PhD or MD or something like that, but I have enough common sense, but I also have the intellect. And then when that combination I would have thought would have been enough for people to, like, hey, this guy's pretty, he knows how to fix stuff and he's a regular Joe and he's not some academic, bubblehead. Uh, and I thought personally, I thought people would listen too. And it just kind of perplexed me as to, do they not like me or am I just a crazy whack job that just is bringing stuff out of left field or like what are we really talking about here? I mean, we're talking about water, right? I mean, we're not talking about asteroids or we're not talking about artificial intelligence. We're talking about like water, food, like sleep. Pretty fundamental things. And I wasn't getting the reception. I was like, "What's going on here? Am I crazy, or are people crazy?" And that's when I came to a realization that there's a mass psychosis, there's a mass brainwashing on this planet, and we're not dealing with logic anymore. We're dealing with people that already have an established position, and now they're just defending that position. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
right.
And so it kind of took the focus off of me trying to make an impact. I'm like, well, shoot, if I'm the crazy guy that's talking about drinking water and eating vegetables, then I'll be that crazy guy. You know what I mean?
I love that. Yeah, count me crazy. Um, like a friend of mine, I told her how I do a lifetime warranty on my carpet stretch.
Mm,
If someone buys carpet from me, and when I do the installation and all that stuff, and I offer a lifetime warranty on the stretch. So if the carpet ever gets bubbled up,
mm,
I've literally gone back after 15 years and restretched carpet for free.
mm,
And I go out and charge people to restretch carpet every day,
mm,
practically. Um, but the thing was is that I was telling my friend about that, that this is what I do. And she's a carpet person. She is familiar with the industry, and she goes, "That's crazy."
Mhm.
I go, "Yeah, you're right. It is crazy, but that's what keeps me from going insane right there, baby, because I'm crazy, just like Waylon."
Well, that's your that's your MO. That's the way that you operate. And it's actually quite intelligent, um, JJ, because it actually solidifies our relationship, because once someone buys something, um, they can always just go out and just throw it away and then rebuy another thing, right? But if they have an established relationship with you, the after the sales support, I mean after sales support, right? That's critical. That gets you, that's lead generation basically. That's generating a lead for the next thing, the next product or the next service, right? And that's actually an ingenious business model because that's word of mouth advertising. There's sometimes where um, you'll go to a car mechanic, you have a car problem, and then you'll shop like three shops, right? Well, I've been going to this one car mechanic, and I'm at this point now where I'm just like, hey, there's something wrong. Whatever you want to fix it. I don't care what it is, just fix it. I trust you, right? And to have that type of relationship where you can say, hey, there's no budget. I don't care whatever price I know that you're a good guy. You just, you will look at this and you will make the appropriate decision, and then I'll just pay that price, whatever it is. Right? That's such a good feeling instead of trying to save $5 here or save $50 there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, amen. I'm lucky in that department. I've got a good friend who is a really good mechanic, and
Mhm.
he's proved himself over and over and over again. And so when I need something done to my vehicle, I just take it over to him
Yeah,
and have him do
exactly,
it,
right.
and
I
that's
mean,
it.
it's like that's ultimately in retail or in sales, that's ultimately what you want as a consumer, right? Someone that you trust, and then as a storefront, ultimately you're looking for those type of customers that just, hey Joe, just take care of it. Hey Sam, just take care of it, okay? Whatever the cost. And so that's actually quite ingenious. And a lot of these people, they don't understand that um that's essentially what people want. you know they want someone to help them take care of things, not just a paid hand. you know
Yeah.
so
And having somebody that you can trust to do things like that for you is priceless. And
yeah, someone in your corner.
it's like
Yeah,
having the Kangen water machine. It's literally a priceless investment.
yeah, yeah.
There's like I tell people all the time, if I couldn't buy another Kangen water machine,
Mhm,
I wouldn't sell my Kangen water machine for $1 million.
mhm, mhm. Yeah,
No way.
yeah. And
Uh,
and so you look at your body, JJ. You look at your body, right? You got one, buddy. You got one. I mean, you can get replacement knees and hips and all that stuff, replacement whatever parts, right? But I tell people that the original equipment that you were issued is the best equipment.
yeah,
Yeah, like I talk to people with replacement knees. They're still in pain. You know what I mean?
that's why I'm trying to keep mine. I want to keep my OEM part. I'm using um, frequency healing and Kangen
Yeah,
water and
yeah.
diet and exercise and that kind of thing, and hopefully I can bring this mess back. But we'll see. That's going to be a last resort if I do it.
Well, there's certain industries like carpet laying is a pretty tough industry in your knees.
Oh
Um,
yeah, and I've been doing it for 35 years on busted up knees. Yeah.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
tell you what, I tell people this all the time as well. If it weren't for Kangen water, there's no way I could do it.
yeah.
It has made a huge difference in the inflammation, even though it's still swollen and stuff such, but it's still, without Kangen water, I wouldn't be able to be
Do you
doing.
do you wrap your knee in fresh 11.5? Like you get a towel and you soak it in fresh 11.5 and then you wrap your knee around it. Wrap your Try that.
I haven't tried that. I guess
Yeah,
maybe I should.
you know, my daughter's a gymnast, right?
Uh-huh.
And so she hyperextended her knee one time, and she had some kind of competition. You know, it was during practice, and she had a competition in like a week or so, and then she hyperextended her knee, and then um,
Hey Sam,
hey,
this
how's
is
it
my
going?
son. This is my son Wyatt.
Hi.
Wyatt?
Little G, what's shaking, buddy? Hoo-dee-hoo.
Hey, JJ.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you guys.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, so we just made some fresh 11.5 and then took a towel, like a medium-sized towel, and soaked it, wrung it out, wrapped her knee in that 11.5 water, and then we wrapped it in saran wrap, basically.
Right.
You know, we made a saran wrap out of her knee, and then she went to bed. We did that like I think 2 nights in a row, and the third night the swelling was down. And we were like, you know, because obviously being a gymnast, knee injuries happen quite often, knee and ankle. It's always knee, ankle, and, you know, sometimes lower back or something like that. But that was something that really, you know, I had read about that in the water therapies PDF, the booklet from Peggy Parker.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Dr. Peggy Parker. And I was like, wow, this stuff actually works, you know, but yeah, give that a shot. You know, just
Hey
do that for a couple weeks.
Sam, may I ask something of you
Yeah.
in a 20-second summary just for my wonderful little son here?
Mhm.
He loves Kangen water.
Mhm.
Just 20 seconds, literally 20 seconds. Describe your history, your accident, and why you are here now. And I told him of your knowledge, why he's only 10, but he's 10 going on 40. So if you would
Okay.
indulge me, please, for 20 seconds
Awesome.
for
Okay,
this wonderful
yeah,
young.
I was a I was a cancer researcher for about 20 years. And then I was you know, I kind of got not happy with my job, and then I started skateboarding, started skiing and all this stuff. And on one of those skateboarding trips, I fell and cracked my head open and went to a coma. And that kind of coming out of that coma, I knew that life was, you know, I mean, stuff happens, you know, like you could pass away anytime. And so that's when I said that I need to do something else with my life, and I need to find something that will keep me healthy, you know, because it kind of makes you really realize how valuable health is only after you lose it, you know. And so that's when I was introduced to Kangen water. And being a scientist, I did all this research on it. I was like, man, like, what if this stuff is actually real? You know, then if it was, then I just found the holy grail of science. And then what am I doing? Like, still researching? Like, you know, when you when you find something, then that's good, that's simple, that's effective, then you just use it. And that, I mean, water is pretty easy to drink, right? Water is pretty easy to do. It's not like some new drug or new surgery procedure. Like, it's water. It's just like, that's a no-brainer. So of course I'll give that a shot. But yeah, it's definitely changed my life. And so now I travel the world, and I speak at conferences, and I teach about drinking water. So I'm a professional water drinker now. I get paid to drink water.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Because Wyatt and I are on the Kangen train.
All
But
right.
man, thank you for, you know, it pays dividends for my young son here, who is smart as a whip, to realize that you're not just some random dude that happened to go, oh, well, I like water. That you're smart. I was a chemistry major
Mhm.
in school as well. And kids don't listen to their parents. They, you know, whatever.
Exactly.
And so thank you very much. I apologize to interrupt you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You know, that right there, you just figured out the one of the biggest ahas of my life. That in our friends and families' lives and in their life movie, we play a certain character. And sometimes we get typecasted, like if if there was a romantic comedy movie and Arnold Schwarzenegger showed up, to audition, right? We'd be like, dude, what, like, this isn't some action, Rambo type movie. This is a romantic comedy. We're looking for a Leonardo DiCaprio type guy,
Right.
Titanic or something. Like, we're not looking for some Mr. Beef here or something like that,
Jack, oh Jack, yes.
Exactly, right. And so in our friends and family and especially our children's lives, we show up as, maybe we show up as Arnold Schwarzenegger, or someone else. But using that third party, just like you just did now, that's worth $1 billion, guys. That's worth at least $1 million to get that concept. It's like, oh, how do I get this message across without it coming from me?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam.
Great job.
That means a lot to me,
Yeah.
because I as Jay John will attest to, I was as I said, I was a biochemistry major. I was biochemistry, music, and I'm not stupid. I love chemistry. I'm a student. I love learning. I'm an autodidact. And so when he told me about, well, this is water, I was like, yeah, F you, it's water, big effing deal. And then I realized, wow, there's actually something to this. It was a river trip. We were getting ready to put on to a river. Put on means, we were getting ready to embark on this trip.
Mhm.
And I was really, really sick. And I had been drinking water and I was throwing up and having, it was coming out both ends. We'll put it that way.
Mhm.
And Jay John said, no, try this. And I did. And I thought, holy crap, there's something to it.
Yeah.
And it took me another 2 years. And I said, well, I'm not going to pay this amount of money for this machine. And Jay John said, well, just save up the money and you can pay for it, little by little with a credit card if you want. And I just saved up the money and bought it outright. And it's the real deal. And I don't feel comfortable trying to sell things to people, but I will give them knowledge.
Mhm.
So thank you for that little bit. And again, I apologize for interrupting what you were talking about, but that was good for my son to learn.
Yeah, no, this is I'm not a salesman too, but people have made the comments like, Sam, how do you sell all these machines? I said, well, I just share my story, and to the right person, it's the right story. To the wrong person, it's like, oh, okay, that's nice, but
Yeah.
it's off my conscience, if I know how to tie my shoelaces and I walk around and I see all these people with untied shoelaces, I might say something. And if they want to tie their shoelaces, great. If they don't, then they might trip in the future. Who knows? It's like it's not about me.
I like that analogy.
You see why I love this guy so much there?
Yeah, Sam, you are definitely wise.
We got to get this boy on a river trip with us.
Yeah. A lot of times, like our suffering, like let's say we bake some really good chocolate chip cookies, right? And we put them out there, but no one eats the cookies, right? And you're like, shoot, these are really good. It's like, they don't like my baking, they don't like me, or what's the deal? And it's like, but it's not about us. It's not about us, right? If you're giving something, then don't give with and ask for a receipt of your kindness. If you're a kind person, you're just gonna give, and it's not even about you that you're giving. You're hit with some kind of gift or some kind of awareness, and you just share this information. And whether people drink the water or eat the cookies or take your information, it almost doesn't really matter, because the way that I look at life is just like I'm just being me. I'm just being happy, and I'm just sharing what I know, sharing my wisdom, sharing my time with people. And if they appreciate it, great. If they don't appreciate it, I'll still be sharing my happiness, and I'll still be sharing my time. And I'm not even part of the equation.
May I ask you a question? Do you have a philosophical or religious founding?
Yeah. So I'm Christian. I grew up Christian. My parents are Buddhists, so I have Christian values. And is that what you're asking? Like what?
Yeah, and the reason why I ask, I just for not that it matters, but my mom was Baptist, my dad was Catholic, so I grew up in that. I grew up. I'm Christian. I believe in a higher power,
Mhm.
but I've studied Buddhism a little bit,
Mhm.
and that's why I thought I'd ask, because some of what you're saying seems along the lines of Buddhist philosophy, but I'm very ignorant in that, and I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah. I went through a time when I was 38, working in my career, and my dream was always to become to make an impact somehow, and I thought my avenue for making an impact was going into medicine, going into research, finding the cure, or being part of that machine that found the cure. And when I came to a realization that, hey, I think I'm just part of a big business. We're not
Yep.
really we're not really pushing the envelope here. We're just kind of like making all these Me Too drugs, just the same thing. We just changing our group, on all these chemicals. We just changing our group. And so I started to hate Mondays, and I started to love Fridays like everyone else. And I was like, what is going on? Like, this is so strange. Here I am, jumping all these hoops. And then I had gotten into Amgen. Amgen is a pretty big biotech company. It's like
Yes.
Pfizer. It's a
Yep.
Pfizer of biotech, right? It's the biggest biotech out there. And that was a goal of mine. I set that goal in 1999, and by 2000 was it? I think in 2000. And all my years are melting together here, but probably within 5 years, I was at Amgen. And so, you have one of those moments where you pinch yourself, it's like, wow, is this really happening?
Yep.
Because I had the idea of getting there, but I kind of lost my train of thought there. But you have this clarity of where you want to go, and you just things come in, and because you have that clarity, you see where that puzzle piece fits. And I told my son this last night. Let's say if I give you 1,000-piece puzzle, and I give myself 1,000-piece puzzle, and they're the same puzzle, right? But I get the box top, but you don't, right? So I'm sitting here looking at the picture, but you're just kind of like looking at the 1,000 pieces all cut up, right? And so I hold up a piece of puzzle, and I see, well, that looks like a little shoe. I think that goes down in this corner. No, it's a red shoe. It's not a white shoe. Oh, so it goes in the other person's. So I know exactly where that piece fits, or not
Yeah.
exactly, but it goes in the left
Yeah.
quadrant or the right quadrant or something like that. And my son just has 1,000-piece puzzle with no picture, right? So I'll be able to put my puzzle together much faster because I have clarity about where I'm going, and I'll see how, as the pieces of puzzle that come into my life, I'll see how this fits, right? Whereas most people, they, you ask them, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's like, I don't know, and if we don't have that clarity, then the speed of getting there is tougher. It's longer, you know. So right now, my son, he's in college. He's going to be a mechanical engineer, and he wants to work for F1 racing, Formula One racing.
Formula One, you sure?
Yeah, or NASCAR, you know, or NASCAR, right? So we've gone to a couple of NASCAR races, and I'm like, dude, I think we're the only Asian people in here.
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
Okay, well, whatever, you know, no big deal.
Look out, NASCAR, baby. Look out,
Yeah,
NASCAR. Here
yeah,
comes
you've got the smartest
the
dude in the
Tran.
room coming in.
Spencer Tran coming in hot, baby.
You know, but it's fun, right? Because I'm like, dude, like all you do is make left turns. It's like it's not that big of a deal.
He'll
Yeah.
have
Right.
he'll have cars running on Kong water.
You know, but I told him, okay, so reverse engineer this. You know, if you want this type of life, and you know, you want to spend your time engineering cars, fantastic. What do you need to become, or what do you need to know, so these people select you to be on their team? Reverse engineer it, right? And so you know, he got a full ride scholarship over at Washington State University
Sweet.
for mechanical engineering, you know. So he got into UW, and you know, Seattle's a little crazy. And I said, no, we're going to send you out to the Palouse, out to farm country, and you're going to learn with those kids over there, because it's safer, right? It's not some big wacko city. But and I told him, you know, I'm going to predict in the future that you're going to call me and you're going to say, Dad, my company wants to send me over to Monaco to help them you know, fine tune this suspension.
Race on right, Monaco. I'm a big race car fan. So yeah,
Yeah.
you go
Yeah.
down Oh boy.
Yeah, and I'm planting that seed, right? I'm like, you know, imagine, Spencer, like you call me 10 years or 5 years from now and say, Dad, could you come out to Monaco and go to this race with me? And when I show up to Monaco, I'll be like, dude, pinch me, pinch you. Like, this is actually happening because we talked about it like 5 years ago. That's the clarity, right? That's the clarity. We have to have that clarity in life of where we're going and how pieces fit in. Because if you don't know, then you don't know. If you don't have clarity, then
So
you don't have clarity.
your wisdom is stupefying. And I'm going to ask you totally off subject because I'm writing notes down and reverse engine. Excuse me, I got a burp. Reverse engineering. I've never thought about that in terms of life.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask you real quick, and this is just a dumb question because I'm a dork. So I was a biochemistry major.
Yeah.
You were obviously way beyond me, but I just love the sciences. I loved organic chemistry, and everyone said you're a sick, perverted, masochistic piece of shit. What was your favorite science course?
Biology. You know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it started in junior high when we were dissecting you know, a frog or a worm, or you know, we dissected a few things, but you know, you're like, holy smokes, this thing is super complex. You know, it's like, and then I was always mechanically inclined. You know, I remember taking apart my my mom's oven. You know how the little glass window there, it gets a little dirty, right? And so I took the whole oven door apart, right? And to clean the glass, right? And then she walks in and she's like mortified. You're like,
what did you do, son?
you know, it's like, oh, don't worry about it, Mom. I can get, and I put it back together, and there's no extra screws, you know, and that's always a bonus.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so that's what got you going. And then when you were in college, did you stick with just biological sciences, or did you enjoy the inorganic and organic chemistry aspect?
Man. OChem was tough. Like, you know, I was supposed to become a dentist, I remember taking OChem and biochemistry, biochem like 201 and 301. I was in there with all the pre-med students. And I
Yeah,
was like, this is
that
like,
was me.
yeah. And I was like, dang, this is the curve in this class, was tough,
Yeah.
but it's just it's pattern recognition, right? And so uh when we look at like the way that I see things, the way that after I hit my head, like my awareness of patterns in nature, patterns in human psychology, patterns in human behavior, patterns in business, companies, how companies behave. For some reason, I could see and spot those patterns,
Wow.
and that's all it is. That's basically all it is. Like all the internet, all of modern technology is basically ones and zeros, you guys. That's it. Ones and zeros structured in a certain combination comes out with the color screen and this technology that allows our voice to transmit thousands of miles. It's just like it's mind blowing, right? But it's really simple, right?
Sam, I hope someday that I can meet you in person and shake your hand. And I don't know if you are an adventure
Okay.
type guy, but I would love to maybe go down the river with you
Yeah.
someday.
Yeah.
Uh, I met Jay John on the river. He saved my life. I was hypothermic,
Mm.
and he he asked me if I was okay, and I was delirious, and I just said, "Oh no," because hypothermia, you get a little drunk.
Mm.
I said, "Oh no, I'm fine. I'm okay." And he said, "Nope, you're done." And he literally pulled. I was in a kayak, he was in a raft, and he pulled me out of my boat, or he pulled my boat up onto his raft,
Mm.
and he said, "Here's a towel to dry off. Here's a blanket. Here are warm clothes." And that is how I met him. He saved my life,
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
saved my life. And
Yeah.
I hope, I know that Jay John met you. I believe, if I remember correctly, you live in Washington.
Yep. Yep. Up near Seattle, up north of Seattle. I used to be a river guide too. I used to be a river guide on
Okay,
the
so
Snoqualmie.
you're a river rat too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then I don't need to speak anymore.
Yeah.
But I would love to meet you, and
Yeah. Yeah. We're
thank
gonna
you
make it
for your
happen.
knowledge. I am so grateful.
Well, we all, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And yeah, we're gonna have to get together and share some notes because it just life can be life is just a big Rubik's cube,
Yeah.
and so you get to unlock, new tricks and things like that. And so it's a big aha moment. And for me, it's just like it's amazing because in our careers, right? You get credentialed and you get certifications, and after a while, it becomes like it becomes a little bit like Groundhog Day. You know, it's
Yes.
the
Yes.
same routine, and you're like, yeah, and you kind of
Same
look at,
shit,
yeah,
different
it's the
day.
same, yeah, yep, and you kind of look at it's like, is this all there is? Like, this is the pinnacle of my life. Like, I just got to put in cruise control for the next 20 years until I punch out and get a discount on a cruise or something like that. A
Yeah.
senior cruise, right? And you're like, is this all there is? But after I hit my head, I realized um, there's obviously more things that I don't know than I do know, right?
Yeah.
So it's this infinite buffet of knowledge that I can acquire. And so if I study for the next 10,000 years, I'm still going to know this much, right? And so it became fascinating. Like I became like a kid in a candy store again, as opposed to being bored with like everything I already knew. You know what I mean? And so that's how I've been conducting my life, and I'll put myself into different situations just to get the new experience, just to get the aha moment, because life is really about that aha moment where you get the light bulb that
Yeah.
comes on, right? And there's so many different areas, whether it's being on a river, you know, or being in the mountains. Like during the winter, I'm a snowboard instructor, but I also teach skiing. And my snowboard instructor friends are like, their minds are blown when they see me skiing backwards next to them, like after class. And you're like, what the hell, dude? Like you were just on a snowboard and like what, and vice versa, right? And but it's just decoding. It's just, it's just understanding the mechanics, understanding the technique, and then executing that technique until it becomes muscle memory. And then your mind's not even really involved.
So pause or it strikes you right. Okay. So not to interrupt, what's look up the waterfall. So
189.
what's the river? It's in Washington.
World's biggest
Columbia?
waterfall ever kayak.
Me?
Wyatt's my son Wyatt, that little monkey.
World's biggest waterfall.
It's in Washington, and this is, and again, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm thinking Wyatt, and he's a river rat too.
Please. You know, like this, and then it put on a bunch
Stop it,
of
Wyatt. Quit
no,
being
then it put on a bunch of different words. I know, and then it.
okay. Yeah, even JJ is like, oh my god.
World's biggest waterfall ever kayaked. See, it doesn't. It's not even.
Taylor, say that. Yeah, just hit that. It's called the. Sorry, stand by. I don't mean to waste your time.
No worries, no worries.
It is called the.
It doesn't say. It says at the end of it.
Palouse Falls in Washington.
Oh, Palouse Falls. Probably the Dry Falls or something. Yeah, because there was during the ice age or something, some big ice dam broke and made a lot of the geology around here.
So that is the biggest waterfall to have ever been run in the kayak.
Wow. Up here.
190 or 190 feet, I believe.
Holy smokes.
Yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
I'm sorry, that's neither here nor there, but you said you're in Washington, and there you go. Palouse Falls, you probably have seen it, and yep, a dude kayaked off that.
Wow. I'm gonna have to go check that out. I'm gonna have to go check that out now.
Yeah.
That's some crazy stuff right there.
Yeah. 190 feet kayaking off of it. His name is Dane Jackson.
Wow. Is he still alive?
Yes, I've boated with many crazier people that are not, but yep, he is the founder of Jackson Kayaks. He's, I don't know, 30, 35, I don't know, but he's still alive. But Palouse Falls,
crazy.
yeah. So I apologize again. I've interrupted you twice.
You don't need to apologize. The thing is, that's cool about this is that I've been wanting to get you two together. I need to get Killjar into this discussion as well. Hopefully here in the near future. And I think it'll be a lot of fun getting the four of you, the three of you together around a campfire on a river trip. I can only imagine what the discussion is going to be, and you're going to be meeting our buddy Killjar here in the near future as well, Sam. He's when he and Nat get together around the campfire, everybody else is sitting there wondering what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah. We start talking about organic chemistry, and everyone says, "Good night. I'm going to bed."
Yeah, that'll be the song, the conversation that gets everyone to start yawning, and then pretty soon everyone leaves the campfire.
Yeah, because mostly biochemistry people go, oh, okay, fuck off. Good night.
Hey, so that Palouse Falls, because my son is going over to Pullman And I think I've driven by that exit a couple of times, that Palouse Falls. So next time next time I drive back there, I'm going to go check that out. I'll send you a
Awesome.
picture from there, and you'll be
Awesome.
like,
I
"Ooh."
I look forward to it, Sam. I really do. And being a fellow river runner, I don't know if you're just a boater or just a kayaker or both, but can you imagine going off that? So I look forward to it.
Yeah, that's
I
I'm-
can't imagine it. No way. I'm going off
yeah,
that
that's just insane, you
As
know.
much as I love kayaking, I'm not gonna go off a 20-story waterfall.
Yeah. You know, so yeah, that JJ, you had a question about like you had your a buddy of yours pass away, you know, and I had my dad passed away in 2019, but my parents are Buddhists, so we had a monk do the ceremony for my dad, but uh I because I was already unconscious and I experienced heaven before. I didn't cry at my dad's funeral, and because I already knew where he was. You know what I mean? I already knew where he went, so he's not missing. You know, I'm not missing. Usually we cry because we miss future time with someone, right? Like you can't have one more conversation because they're gone, right? Well, I know for certain that heaven is real, and you exist as a spirit, after this human experience is gone. And so when I didn't cry because I wasn't missing anything in the future, the monk came up to me and asked me, it's a family friend. She asked me, so, of all the ceremonies that I've helped so many different families with loved ones and things like that, you're the first, child, the first kid who have ever met that didn't cry at their father's or mother's funeral. And she asked me why that was, and I said, well, I already know where he is. And the monk said, well, how do you know where he went? I said, well, because I was in a coma in 2014, because I was also there. And then I'm blessed with this second life to come back with that awareness. But um, that future that we all fear and we're all sad about, it's because we're sad and fearful about, because it's the unknown. But once it becomes known, it's not a big deal.
Hey, would you repeat what you just said? So my son is learning how to roll a kayak. Would you repeat what you said about the unknown?
Oh, yeah. So anything that's unknown, we're naturally going to go to fear, right? Because fear keeps us safe. But it's that fear of the unknown that keeps us from trying new things. And if we try it in a safe environment, then it's not that big of a deal, right? Especially when your dad's there. When your dad's there and he could teach you how to roll, and if you get stuck, he'll pop you up, obviously. But that fear of the unknown stops a lot of people from trying things. And once once the other side of that fear, it's not a big wall anymore. It's just something that you go through, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
check this out, even for drinking water, right? Even for drinking water, there's just people think they know, and they do know, but their information is they haven't been told everything. Or maybe they've been told the wrong things, and then when you bring the truth to them, they have to check this new truth with the truth that's in their head. They have to compare the two. And sometimes they believed in the bad truth, right? The false truth for so long that they've become attached to it. And so it becomes harder for them to let the new truth in, right? and that's how people get old. You know, they get rigid. They get rigid in their thinking.
Oh, Sam, you just spoke truth that 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 people get old because they become rigid. I'm writing that down right now. People get old because they become rigid.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you for and you have a son, so you know that they can only take little bites
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they get worn out. So thank you very much for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. No worries. No worries. You know, like when I became a ski instructor, um, you know, coming as a scientist, as a pharmaceutical scientist type guy, I was like always very structured and give me the 10 steps and, you know, things like that.
Right.
But when it came time to teaching kids, you know, me and my analytical, my clinical type, you know, demeanor didn't convey ski lessons well. And so I was watching one of these other instructors who were certified in teaching kids, and all they did was play games, right? Follow the leader, cat and mouse. You know, like if you can catch me, you can hit me with a snowball, right? And I was like, man, that's how kids learn. Kids can't, you know, kids can't sit down and digest a protocol. You know, kids will sit down and play cat and mouse with you. They'll play a game. They'll throw things. You know, and so we have to understand how to get through to certain demographics, right? And the whole point is getting through. The whole, you know, it's not about us hearing ourselves talking. The whole point is to get the message through. You know, and that's something that I'm constantly aware of, but like how to get this message through. And if it's just and oftentimes I have to put myself into the mindset of the person that I'm trying to teach, you know, because
I being a music teacher, I try to do exactly what you just encapsulated. I the worst teachers I've ever had just teach the same way for student A, B, C, D. And I try when I teach music, I was a classically trained violinist, and I try to realize, well, what works for student A doesn't work for student B. So I'm going to try some bluegrass, or I'm going to try some Celtic music, or I'm going to try folk music.
Yep.
And everything changes. And some kids learn mathematically. And, you know, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 versus sometimes the kid just feels, well, here's the beat and here's the beat. And if I bring 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, it just screws them up. So I hear what you're saying. And that's the great thing about being a teacher, is to challenge yourself to learn what I learn as much as the student is. That okay, he is not mathematical, or she is very mathematical.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, like and I have that same approach to teaching so many different concepts. So what my friends always tell me is like, Sam, you give the greatest analogies. Like you always come up with something that gets someone to have this aha moment, right? Because I don't learn the same way. Like I used to, like I'm not a very good student in the sense that I'm not going to sit there and digest the whole organic chemistry book. You know, it's just like I will read like maybe 5 pages and then pretty soon I'm asleep. Like like, and then it's the oddest thing that I became a pharmaceutical scientist because that wasn't my big forte. You know, there's kids that learn with kinesiology, like movement. You know, there's kids that learn. You know, well, we have 5 senses, right, guys? We have 5 senses, right?
Yep.
And those are the five avenues that knowledge comes into our body, right?
Right.
Some people hear things, like you could hear a piece of music that moves you, right? Some people see a piece of art on the wall that moves them, right? Some people experience some kind of, they go down the river the first time and they have a great experience, right? Some people smell a flower, right? And what's the last one? Touch. Is it touch?
Touch and taste.
Yeah, touch and taste, and so those are the ways that things come into our life. Those are our receptors, our senses, right? And so when
Fun fact, not to interrupt, but fun fact, your smell is the only sense that shuts off when you're asleep.
interesting.
Yep. Hearing, sight, everything. If a bright light flashes or a loud noise, smell is the only sense. That's why smelling salts are used, because the ammonia is actually a physical reaction because it's an acid and it wakes you up. But your smell is the only sense it shuts off when you're asleep. So anyway,
Interesting.
go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, so this is why a lot of times, like I'll put some audio book on, like low volume, just like background music a little bit, when I go to sleep sometimes, because I know that I'm still, my hope is that it's through osmosis or something like that.
And
Right? That's coming into my head when I'm sleeping, right?
Yeah, we wake up in the morning and go, that was a great book.
I learned a whole
I'm gonna
bunch.
listen
Yeah.
to that again.
I know.
Yeah, Sam, I'm so happy that you came into my life, and I'm even
And I'm
more
grateful
happy
as well, Sam.
being able to bring you into Nat's life, because Nat is literally one of my best friends in this world, and I'm all of this stuff is also interconnected. I don't believe that anything happens by coincidence, and I'm just grateful that once a month at least we get to, on the first Monday of every month is what we're shooting for, is to on the first Monday of every month we want to have a little gathering and learn some things. And maybe it sets us up for the rest of the month to have a bigger, better month than the last month before. And I can tell you right now, the way I was feeling when I came into this meeting compared to how I feel now is
That's good.
so grateful for that. And it's just always, I'm so thankful that you take your time. Your time is
Yes.
valuable.
It's all
And your wisdom.
Yeah, and, it's all perspective, guys. Like we, because I'm on from various chats and stuff, and I share things, and people say, "Man, like you're dropping some truth, Sam. Like you're dropping some dimes there," And I'm saying, well, what's the point of wisdom if we don't get to share it, if we don't pass it on, if grandpa, or great grandpa can drop some wisdom from their 80 years on me, I've just time warped, I've just like space traveled or whatever, like they've saved me decades that, if they warn me, hey, that knife's sharp, and
Hey.
I actually heed that warning, then I don't need to cut myself.
Hey, Sam.
Yeah.
What are you doing on so 2 months? The August 1st is a Tuesday.
Mhm.
What are the chances of you coming out to Colorado for 4 days?
August 1st, let me see here.
That's a Tuesday through a Friday, 4 days.
August 1st to the 4th, or
So
yeah.
that I might be able to swing. I'm scheduled for a class, but that class also happens in September, so I could push the class out to September. But what's going on in Colorado? What are you guys
River
doing?
trip.
Huh?
We're going
river
down
trip.
a classic section of the Colorado River.
Shoots, I might have to make that happen.
We've got
All
a
right, so
25
this-
person crew.
This without me being too melodramatic
Yeah.
is probably a once in a lifetime occurrence because as you know, being a river rat yourself,
Mhm.
sometimes one of your friends comes or two, or but then the other two or three don't come, and then the other three or four don't come, or
Mhm.
they do, but you never get them all together.
Yep,
This is an accumulation of the absolute best friends of my life, including
let's
Jay
make it
John
happen.
and his wonderful wife Tina. I don't know if you've met her,
Oh yeah.
and that
Tina.
it's going to be literally hundreds of years worth of river experience.
All right, let's do it.
I've been rafting and kayaking since I was 19, I think. So it's a great thing, and I would love to invite you if
Oh,
you would
awesome.
like. It's August 1st through 4th, and
Okay.
this is going to be probably the most amazing group of people that I don't know your circle of friends, but these are they make JJ look like a pawn. And JJ, I was kidding.
Wait
That was
till you meet the swing dogs.
Yeah, you get to meet some amazing people, and I would love to meet you personally.
All right, yeah.
But August 1st through 4th.
Okay. I'll check with my I'll check with the boss. I mean my wife.
Yes.
And then yeah, I'll make it happen. Make it happen. That's because we really don't know how many more decades the Colorado is even going to be full of water, right? Because it's like the desert Southwest drying up, so it's kind of scary prospects. But yeah, let's make it happen, guys.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let you go right now. Jay John, you and Sam talk back and forth about this trip. It's going to be amazing. Sam, thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for speaking with my son. And I apologize that I have to bump off so soon.
All right, no worries. We'll talk soon.
Love you,
All right.
buddy.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, so JJ, that sounds amazing, man. Like I'll make it happen somehow. So
Now that sounds good. I was thinking about that because it's I'm gonna go ahead and stop our recording. I think we've done it's been a wonderful little meeting here today, and I'm so glad that Nat was able to jump in. And I've been wanting to get the two of you together into a conversation where you guys could kind of get to know each other a little bit, because you're
awesome.
birds of the same feather, and it's taken a long time for me to get him involved. Like, he was the first person I reached out to about Kangen water.
Oh, okay.
And I found out about Kangen water. He was the very first person I reached out to, and he literally shot me down like a Scud missile. And now 6 years later, he has a machine. So I'm pretty excited about that. And
That's awesome.
he now realizes, and when our goal is to share this, people ask me what Kong's water is, and I tell them it's literally the most important thing that you can put in your body.
Yeah.
And it's the most valuable investment you'll ever make in your life. And there's no doubt, there's absolutely no doubt about it. It is literally that.
Yeah.
You change your water, you change your life.
JJ, the people, in our society, like they teach us things to know, but they don't teach us how to think. Right? They teach us things to memorize, whether it's reading, writing, arithmetic, right? But they don't teach us how to comprehend. They don't teach us how to have critical thinking. They don't teach a lot of things where you're actually learning from yourself as opposed to memorizing out of a book. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of smart people out there. There's a lot of intelligent people out there, and they know things, right? And but when it comes down to like actually being healthy, doing things, it's more than just knowledge. It's more like, okay, can you get the thought process? Can you connect the dots? And that's real intelligence, And so being in, you can take a MD, PhD, right? But if you can't, like if you can't recognize hypothermia, what good is the MD, PhD?
Exactly.
Like you're on the river and you're you're like, woo, I've got all these college degrees. No, on the river, like there's a different type of smarts out here. You got to recognize like the signs of hypothermia, right? It's like being drunk, right? You got to be able to recognize it. And it's one thing to recognize it in other people, but can you recognize it in yourself?
Yeah.
And can you keep yourself safe? Right.
For next month's meeting,
Hmm.
is I think that both of our schedules, if we can get together on the first Monday of every month,
Okay. Yeah.
and let's get together, have a party on the first Monday of every month. And I think that because the one thing I have learned, and I'm trying more to learn from you, Sam, is
Mhm.
how to ask the right questions, how to put together the right analogies.
Mhm.
Maybe because I've come to the conclusion after watching and listening to the Making Anarchy Mainstream, he says in there that most people deep down inside are an anarchist. They just don't know it.
Mm.
And the way that we help them bring that out of themselves is by asking the right questions.
Mhm.
And you, my friend, are one of the greatest question askers that I've ever known. You've asked me so many questions that have really shifted my paradigm. And that's what we all need to get better at.
Mhm.
And maybe that might be the way we want to move with our Making a Difference
Yeah.
monthly Monday. At the first Monday of every month, we
Mhm.
have an hour's worth of time, and we try to figure out ways that we can make a difference that month.
Mhm.
Maybe a thing about, some questions. What kind of questions should we ask this month that
Mhm.
will stimulate people to think in the way that would be best for them, that we can, because the word educate means to lead out.
Mhm.
And that's what Larkin does in his anarchy thing, is he just simply asks questions to people. And then those people have to answer those questions themselves. And then that brings out, like, for example, it's not okay for you to go over to your neighbor's house and put a gun to his head and, tell him you need money for your rent,
Mhm.
or you
Yeah.
need money for your health care, or you need money for any particular anything. You can't go over to your neighbor and, is it okay for you to go over to your neighbor and
Yeah.
put a gun to their
And,
head and ask
and,
for the money?
and
Can you have government do it for you? And
uh,
that's those questions. You're so
Daniel,
good at that kind of stuff.
yeah, let's address that, because ultimately, like freedom, or sovereignty is a type of anarchy, right? Where it's like you rule yourself, right? But people in their mind, um, they're people don't have the self-control to control themselves, right? And so they always look for some kind of structure, some kind of fencing, some kind of rules, right? And so, but fundamentally, don't steal, right? Anarchy is basically don't steal, right?
Right.
And so people, if they could just understand what it really is, then they would also recognize that what we have is a system of stealing in government.
Yeah.
Essentially, right? I mean, whether you're stealing people's money or people's time or people's resources, that's essentially that's what government does. And so, in my mind, because I met an anarchist, and so he's one of my friends now. But I was really intrigued. I was like, so I don't even know what I have this idea of anarchy that I've been taught. And I always thought it was just like, oh, riots and all this stuff. No, but anarchy is really like, don't steal. That's what anarchy is, you know. And you're like, well, shoot, I have no problems with not stealing. I have a feeling, I have a feel, that doesn't sound so bad. Like, but the way that they explained it, that government just is stealing all the
Yeah.
time from everyone.
That's another thing I love so much about you, Sam, is you've said to me that the genius is in the simplicity.
Yeah.
And you always break everything down to its most simple form. And even right there with anarchy, that down to its most
Is
simple
that true though? Is that real? Is that true? Like
It's
anarchy is
right on the
basically
money. It's literally right on the money. And and so with all of the stuff that we do, it's really in our genes. Like Larkin said, most people deep down inside aren't anarchists. They just don't know it and they don't understand what it is. And
Exactly.
so our job, and it's the same thing with water. It's the same thing with eating right. It's the same thing with thinking right. It's the same thing with all the different stuff that we hope to bring forth as time goes by with our Making a Difference series. And that how do we ask the right questions? And I'm thinking that my brother Sam Tran, he's the best leader that I've ever found in my life for that question.
Mhm.
How do we ask the right questions?
Yep.
And if we can learn to ask the right questions, by golly, we can make a difference.
Yep.
A
Exactly.
difference for the best in this
Yeah.
world. And
Yep.
it goes
And,
right with everything that we do.
yeah, and this is how we ripple things out, right? Like literally, we ripple things out on the water surface, but also through time. The best thing that I can give my children is curiosity. To be curious about the world, because one of the worst things is to be bored, right? And boredom is basically like you think you know everything. Like how could anyone be bored? So the best thing, and I notice this in children, right? Children are naturally curious. That's why they have such a good time. Older people, they're not curious anymore. They know everything. That's why it kind of sucks to be old, right? Because you think you know everything when obviously you don't.
Yeah, that's that. There's gonna be our quote for the show today when I get it up is gonna be the best thing I can give my children is curiosity. Quotation marks from Sam Tran, my brother.
Yeah.
My brother from another mother. I love you so much, buddy.
Love you too, man.
And
Hey JJ, you know how you call me the samurai? And so one of my friends said, he said, when you write that out, you put SAM and then period, then the UR period, then the AI. And he said, Sam, you're AI. You're artificial intelligence that became self-aware. So you're a sentient being. I said, well, I hope I am. I hope I'm a sentient being.
yes, sir, in a good way, baby, in
Yeah.
the best of ways.
Yeah.
So, real quick, Sam, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but before we leave, I want to discuss just a real quick thing with you about the river. So, to everybody, I hope you really enjoy this as much as I do. We want to get this thing moving and keep it going once a month, the first Monday of every month. And, you really need to be getting in here and getting some wisdom from this man right here. He's gracious enough to give us his time. And it's just such an incredible blessing, brother. So thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. And
Thank you so
I'm
much.
looking totally forward to next month. And yeah, so
Keep up the
hope
good
you guys,
vibes.
everybody, do good, be good, make a difference. Hooty hoo.
Bye, guys.
So